All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy hurricane morning, if we even have a hurricane. Today, we're going to be going over two topics as it relates to Mongoose. So, kind of taking a deep dive into utilizing Mongo via Mongoose to practice querying. So, to do this, we're doing something very unique and different than we normally do. This is essentially a repo that we've set up to enable you guys to practice some of these Mongo and Mongoose methods. So if you read the lesson here, it's actually not even something that you would ideally do with a partner, but feel free to ask other questions, compare solutions, that sort of thing. We have set up a repository for you that you will, of course, fork and clone. And if it loads, then you'll see what it's all about. I'll have to make sure, real quick, I'll do that it is accessible by you all. Anyways, I'll do that before you actually get this. So back to this. All right, so this is what your project is going to look like. Notice we've got a get ignore, the normal package JSON things. We've got server.js and solutions.js. You'll be doing all of your work inside of server.js. Solutions are essentially the answers. So you've got a lifeline here. If you get totally stuck and lost, you can see exactly how this works, but just be aware that you won't learn much if you look at the solutions right off. You'll notice that we have models. So the two things that we're going to be practicing with are books and people. There's no real relationship here. I'll explain in a minute a little bit more about how this will work and why you'll need to utilize these two models. But essentially, you're going to be writing all of your code inside of server.js, actually at the bottom of it right here. These are essentially the exercises that we want to be doing. So 3 exercises for books, then 5 exercises for people. Both are completely unrelated to one another. Now, all the code above here is essentially just code to get everything set up, to populate our local database. So a few things to note here. Whenever you want to run this project, you'll run node server.js, and it will do the following for you. It'll create the proper books and people that we need, and then later on we'll run some practices querying those books and people. So we'll populate the database with all the code that we've already written above. Do not change any of this. And then down here you'll write some code to practice actually querying this. So for example, we want to find books with fewer than 500 but more than 200 pages. So you'll obviously be utilizing some of these methods, greater than, less than, operators, etc., etc. So just to go over real quickly the code up here, we're doing a few new things. Of course, we've got body parser, express, app. Those are normal. Request is a new one that I don't think we've used yet. It is a package built for Node so that we can make requests from the server. So just like Axios or something like that, or jQuery's Ajax method is essentially what it's going to be doing for us, because we're going to be making requests to the Google Books API to get books. That's how we're going to populate our books database. Then we're of course going to connect to a local database that we're going to be creating called Mongoose exercises, and we're going to use body parser. So here we're just essentially creating all of our books, so you can read through the code to see how we're doing that. And then we're creating all of our people, so you can read all through the code of how we're doing that. But again, this is nothing crazy. We're literally just building it so that we can get some random data to populate our database before we practice querying the data below. So don't change any of this code. And we're starting up our server so we can listen for connections if needed. So that's the idea here. If we want to peek the solutions real quick, you'll see that we have written down exactly how to solve these. So it's going to be not a ton of code, weight greater than 100, kids, element match, weight. So anyways, those kind of things are going to be the things that we're tackling this morning. If you have questions, let me know. Write all of your code inside of server.js. Use the Mongo shell if you need to look at what is actually in your database, so you can see if things are correctly getting populated. You can also easily drop your database and destroy it if you need to. Those should be easy commands to find if you screwed up the population of your database for any other reason. The time you have left, go back to your beer server. Instead of saving data to JSON file, use Mongo. So this morning, if you want to go after it a little bit more, you can jump on this. But that's essentially all we've got. So short and sweet. Let us know if you have questions. We'll be on Slack all day to help with this. Yeah, look for the other lecture to come shortly as well. Thanks.